Hello students, welcome back to the online session on basic electronics. Today we'll be learning about rectifiers using capacitor filter. So let's see what content we'll be studying today. So first we'll be studying about filters, introduction to filter, then about half wave rectifier using capacitor filter, full wave rectifier using capacitor filter, bridge rectifier using capacitor filter. To note down the page, it is from 39 to 41 of your notes. Let's revise what we have done previously, what we studied in the previous session. Yes, we have studied rectifiers, half wave, full wave and bridge rectifier. So we know that rectification is the process of conversion AC into DC, that is alternating current into direct current. Now when we say conversion of AC into DC, we have seen in all the three rectifier it is not pure form of DC. To be very precise, let's see the three rectifier circuits. In half wave rectifier, we are having a one diode and a load resistor where the output is taken from. Then we have a step down transformer. In full wave center tap, we have two diodes. We are making use of a center tap transformer and the output is taken across the load RL. And in bridge rectifier, we are making use of four diodes and a center tap transformer and the output is taken across load resistor RL. If we properly see at the output waveform in half wave rectifier, for the positive half cycle, we get the output from the load resistor RL. But for the negative half cycle, since the diode remains in off state or it is in reverse bias, there is no output produced. That's why there is zero output. Again, for the positive half cycle, the diode is forward bias and we get the output. That is why in case of half wave rectifier, only half of the portion of the input is used and is converted into DC. That's why the name half wave rectifier. In case of full wave center tap transformer, we are making use of center tap transformer. And if we see the efficiency and performance, both bridge rectifier and center tap do well. But since center tap transformer is costly and its peak inverse voltage is also high, we prefer bridge rectifier. In case of construction, full wave center tap make use of only two diodes, but bridge rectifier makes use of four diodes, but it doesn't use center tap transformer. So it is not that expensive. In both the case, the output waveform follows the same fashion. That is, for both positive half cycle as well as negative half cycle, we get the output. Yes, so we from this three rectifiers, it is very clear that there is conversion, that is there is a conversion from AC into pulsating DC and not pure DC. So we have seen or derived all the parameters. So comparing all the three, we know that the number of diodes used in half wave rectifier is 1. In case of center tapped it is 2 and in case of bridge type it is 4. Center tap transformer is necessary only for center tapped. The maximum efficiency, that is how efficient is the circuit in converting or in rectifying. In case of half wave rectifier it is only 40.6%. But in case of center tapped and bridge type it is 81.2%. The ripple factor for half wave rectifier is 1.21, whereas center tap and bridge type it is 0.48. The output frequency for half wave rectifier is same as the input frequency, whereas center tap and bridge type has 2 times the input frequency. Peak inverse voltage for half wave rectifier is Vm, whereas center tap it is 2 times the maximum voltage, and in case of bridge type is it again Vm. Here we are much concentrating on one concept, that is ripple factor. So now you have to understand why we are concentrating on this factor, where half wave rectifier it is 1.21 and center tap and bridge rectifier it is 0.48. Yes, so we have already seen that ripple factor is the ratio of RMS value of AC component present in the rectified output to the DC component of the rectified output. or gamma is given by VAC divided by VDC. Now, we all know that the output present across the load resistor have both AC component as well as DC component. So by finding its ripple factor, we get to know how much AC component is present in the output. Our main aim is to convert AC into pure form of DC. But because of the AC component present, there are ripples found, and we need to avoid this ripple. In case of half wave rectifier, it is 1.21 or 121 percentage of AC component is present in the DC output. In case of full wave rectifier, it is 48.3 percentage of AC component is present in the DC output. In both the case, we find that there are minimal amount of AC component. So in case of rectification, we must find that there will be negligible AC component. That is how we can say that the rectifier is 100% efficient, or it has converted AC into pure form of DC. So if you see, when I'm talking AC and DC, in the previous sessions I have clearly mentioned the difference between AC and DC. AC is otherwise called alternating current, or AC voltage is the current produced by alternating voltage. Okay, so in that case, AC current, if you observe here, it is varying with respect to time. So each point of time, so if I mark here this one point, this one point, this one point, this one point, and this one point, that is only for the positive half cycle. If I mark few points, I can find that is for this, let's say this is 10 seconds. For 10 seconds I have a value or voltage value, say around 2 volts, and for the next one, that is 20 seconds, I have a value, say uh, 4 volts, and for 30 seconds I have another value. So if you properly observe here, the output, that is the voltage, is fluctuating or it is varying, it is not constant. Same way, in the opposite side, if you see, the direction is also changed because it is having opposite polarity. Now it will have -2, -5, -10, so on. So it is there in both the direction, both polarities. Okay, that's why it is called alternating current. Now let us see the output voltage that is produced in case of this full wave rectifiers. Here also in the case, if you see, if I note down these points, it is also varying with respect to time. Yes, so it is also varying with respect to time. So this is also not constant. So why is this actually conversion of AC into pure form of DC required? Students, if you observe at a home or any buildings, the main supply will give you an AC supply, say around 230 volts or 240 volts, which is an AC supply. But whatever circuits we are making, whatever components, electrical appliances we are using in our practical daily life will be using DC. Because you know that when there are that much variations in the input, the component will not work well or work fine. So it is always better to use DC. So the main concept of converting AC into DC is because the electrical appliance has to work fine. So let us see an example. Now we have to use a regulated power supply or regulated DC supply. So how do you find this? It is not as simple just thinking that rectifier will do the work. No, because rectifier is giving you just a pulsating DC and it is not pure form of DC. So if we check the block diagram here properly, input is a AC line, it is given to a transformer, and I told you in the previous session also, transformer which is used here is a step down transformer. What does it do? It will reduce, or it will step down the voltage to the required level. So 230 volts to 12 volts, or 230 volts to 24 volts, whatever required level. So it is reducing the voltage, so that's why we are making use of step down transformer. In case of rectifier, what it is doing? It is converting AC into pulsating form of DC. Now, what is important here is knowing this part, that is filter. So filter, after using filter, then we are making use of regulator to get a regulated output. We are mainly concentrating on filters here. So if you see the output, so from the step down transformer we are getting this input, yes, AC input, it is given to the rectifier. Then we are getting this output, yes, this output will be getting, and after the filter, this is the output we are getting. So if you see properly, input, if it is a sinusoidal voltage, but when I say a pure DC, it should be a straight line or in this form. Here there is no fluctuation or no variation, then only that is the electrical appliances will work fine, or you can rely on that particular regulated power supply. Okay, so now we are introducing a new concept. What is filter? Everyone you are making use in your daily life, that is coffee filter or tea filter, whatever. So if you see in those filters, what is the actual thing happening there is, all the remaining tea residues or coffee residues are left out in that filter, and you will get the clean tea or coffee. So same way here in this concept, what is filter used for? Here, filter is a circuit used to reduce the ripple content present in the rectified output. You all know that we want a pure DC. That means there should not be any ripples present in the output, or there should not be any AC component present in the output. So how to do this? So this is done by making use of filters. So ripple content of rectified output can be filtered out by connecting a capacitor in parallel with the load resistor RL. We already know that the ripple content of half wave rectified output is 121% of DC component, whereas for the full wave rectified output it is 48.3%. So in order to get a pure form of DC or smooth DC, it is necessary to filter out the ripple content. So the filter is a device that allows passing the DC component to the load and blocking the AC component of the rectifier output. Same way as I told, tea filter, it will allow the pure tea into the into as output, whereas it will block that tea residues which is not, no more used, right? So same way here, what it is doing, it will allow the DC component to the load and it will block the AC component. That's how it will make it almost as a pure form of DC. Thus, the output of the filter circuit will be a steady DC voltage. Now, let us see how filter circuit can be constructed. It can be constructed by making use of inductor. It can be constructed by making use of capacitor. It can be constructed by combination of inductor and capacitor or resistor. So, we have four different types of filter. So, it is inductor filter, capacitor filter, LC filter, and pi filter. So if you see in the diagram here, block diagram of a rectifier circuit, input voltage is a sinusoidal voltage, output we get this pulsating DC output. Then by making use of filter circuit, any of these four types, we get a pure DC form. Okay, and we will be studying here about capacitor filter only. So we will be concentrating only on capacitor filter. So all of you should know how does a capacitor filter work. To understand that, we have to first understand the circuit. Okay, circuit. Here this is a rectifier circuit. Yes, input AC is given to the rectifier circuit and we get the output. And here The normal circuit didn't have this portion, but a load resistor. Now what we are doing, we are using a shunt capacitor. We are placing a capacitor in parallel to the load resistor here. Okay, and that's how we are going to get a pure form of DC. So to understand that, first we have to understand the working of capacitor. Let's see this a short video to understand the working of capacitor.
The capacitor is the essential component of any circuit design, and in fact, after the resistor, it is the second most used passive component in the circuits. Now these capacitors are available in various sizes and shapes. But the basic function of any capacitor is to store the electrical energy. So now in this video, let us understand how does this capacitor works and how the energy is stored across this capacitor. Now this capacitor consists of two conducting plates which are separated by a dielectric material. Now this dielectric material is the insulating material and it opposes the flow of current. So now let us understand when we apply the voltage to this capacitor, then how the energy is stored across this capacitor. Now before the application of voltage, the two conducting plates of this capacitor are electrically neutral. It means that it has an equal amount of positive as well as the negative charge. But once the voltage is applied to this capacitor, then from the top plate, the electrons or the negative charge is attracted towards the positive terminal of this battery. And through the negative terminal of the battery, the electrons are pushed towards the bottom plate of this capacitor. Now because of the dielectric material between the two plates, the electrons which are collected at the bottom plate of this capacitor are not able to cross this barrier. And because of that, you will observe that over the period of time, the electrons will get accumulated at the bottom plate of this capacitor. So over the period of time, the top plate will have a shortage of electrons while the bottom plate will have a excessive electrons. Or we can say that the top plate will get positively charged while the bottom plate will get negatively charged. And because of the charged particles, the potential difference will get developed across the two plates. Now the building of charges across the two plates will continue till the point the potential difference that is developed across the two plates is equal to the supplied voltage. Now because of this potential difference, the electric field will get developed across the two plates, and this developed electric field is directly proportional to the potential difference and it is inversely proportional to the distance between the two plates. So smaller the distance between the two plates, the stronger will be the electric field. So in this way, when we apply the voltage to the capacitor, then the charges are developed across the two plates of this capacitor, and because of the development of the charge, the electric field is developed between the two plates. So in this way, the capacitor stores the energy in form of this electric field. Now even if we remove this voltage source, then also the charges that is developed across the two plates will remain as it is. So unless we apply the conductive part to this capacitor, the charges that is developed across the two plates will remain as it is. So as you can see over here, the conductive path is connected between the two terminals of this capacitor, and the load in the form of bulb is connected to this conductive path. So now whenever we turn on this switch, at that time the electrons from the bottom plate will get attracted towards the top plate, and in this way you will see the transfer of charge or flow of current through this conductive path. So now because of flow of current, you will see that the bulb will glow, and in this way the current will flow through this conductive path. Will continue till both the plates will become electrically neutral. So over the period of time, you will observe that both plates will become electrically neutral and there will not be any flow of electrons through this conductive path, and because of that the bulb will again turned off. So in this way, the charge that was developed across the capacitor has been discharged through this conductive path, and this phenomenon can be known as the discharging of this capacitor. Now the ability of the capacitor to store the charge is known as the capacitance, and it is represented as the charge that is developed across the capacitor per unit voltage, and generally it is denoted by the unit of Faraday. Now this Faraday is very big unit, and usually it is not used to define the capacitance. Rather, very small units like millifarad, microfarad and picofarads are used to define the capacitance. So now for the given capacitance, if you want to store the more charge across the capacitor, then you need to apply the more voltage across that capacitor. Or for the given voltage, suppose if you want to store the more charge across the capacitor, then you need to select the capacitor in such a way that it has a large capacitance. So as you can see over here, by changing the applied voltage, we can change the amount of charge that is stored across the capacitor. But here we cannot increase the voltage indefinitely. So for every capacitor, you will find that the maximum voltage rating has been defined. So the voltage that is applied across the capacitor should be less than that maximum rating. So if the applied voltage is greater than the maximum rated voltage, in that case you will see the dielectric breakdown in the capacitor. So now let us see the factors which affects the capacitance of this capacitor. So there are three factors which affects the capacitance of this capacitor. The first is the area of the plates. Then the second factor is the distance between the two plates of this capacitor. And the third factor is the permittivity of the dielectric material. And the relation between three can be given by this expression, that is C.
Okay, so this is about capacitor. So in capacitor the main thing you have to understand is about it stores the charges, so it has two process, charging and discharging. So how the charging takes place and how the discharging, I think in the video it was very clearly explained. Okay, so now let us see the contents we have to study now. That is, first we'll be studying about half wave rectifier with capacitor filter. So you all know that in case of half wave rectifier, the output of half wave rectifier is not pure DC, but it contains fluctuations, or we can say ripple, which is actually not desired, it is undesired. So we have what we have to do, we have to minimize that ripple content. So how we are doing that? We are making use of filters. So what is a filter? It is an electronic circuit composed of either capacitor or inductor or combination of these two. And it is placed between the rectifier and the load so as to convert pulsating DC to pure form of DC. So in this we'll be learning how a capacitor filter will be useful in converting a AC into pure form of DC. So this is a circuit diagram you have to study. So the previous session we have already studied about half wave rectifier, and this complete circuit we know. Now in addition to that, we are making use of one additional capacitor, okay, CL. Now we have to understand what happens during the positive half cycle and what happens to the during the negative half cycle. So students, during the positive half cycle, diode D is forward biased, so the output is, there is a conducting path, there is output produced across the load resistor RL. Whereas during the negative half cycle, diode D1 is off and there is no current produced in the output. Now we have a capacitor placed here. Okay, so what happens during the positive half cycle of the AC supply? The diode conducts, or it is in on states, and because of this the capacitor starts to charge. To how much value? To the peak value of Vm of the transformer, secondary voltage. Now, when the transformer secondary voltage falls below Vm, the diode stops conducting. That is, it is in off state. Now, the capacitor starts discharging through RL and the voltage on capacitor decreases. So let's see the output waveform here. Okay, we all know that in case of half wave rectifier, students just concentrate on the blue lines. In case of half wave rectifier, we get the output during the positive half cycle, and during the negative half cycle we have no output, zero output. Again during the positive half cycle we have next output. Now when the diode is forward biased, what does capacitor do? Capacitor starts charging. Okay, capacitor starts to charge. To which point? To a peak point, or to the peak voltage, that is Vm. And then what happens? Now the transformer secondary voltage reverse, right? Now it is for conducting in the reverse bias. The diode is reverse bias now. Okay, and what happens? The diode is in off state and the capacitor starts discharging, and if you observe here students, the discharge time period is very slow. It is will be slowly discharging, and again after the diode starts to conduct again, then again it will start to conduct. Okay, and this value is called as VR peak to peak. Okay, so in case of half wave rectifier with capacitor filter, what is happening? The filter uses a single capacitor connected in parallel with the load RL. Why we are making use of this? Because in order to minimize the ripple in the output content. Okay, so the capacitor C used in the filter circuit usually is very large, that is almost tens or 1000 microfarads. Okay, the operation of the capacitor filter depends upon the factor that capacitor stores energy during the conduction period and delivers the energy to the load during the non-conduction period. Okay, so during the positive quarter cycle of the AC input signal, the diode D is forward bias and hence it conducts. This quickly charges the capacitor to peak value of input voltage. Okay, the practically the capacitor charge from, that is Vm minus Vf, that is V forward voltage drop. There is a forward voltage drop, so from there it will starts to charge due to diode forward voltage drop. When the input starts decreasing below its peak value, the capacitor remains charged at Vm and the ideal diode gets reverse bias. This is because the capacitor voltage, which is cathode voltage of the diode, becomes more positive than the anode. Therefore, during the entire negative half cycle and some part of the next positive half cycle, capacitor discharges through RL. The discharging of capacitor is decided by RLC, that is a time constant, which is very large. Hence, the capacitor discharge is very slow or very little from Vm. In the next positive half cycle again, when the input signal becomes more than the capacitor voltage, the diode becomes forward bias and the charges the capacitor C back to Vm. The output waveform here, what we can see, it follows the same process. The discharging of the capacitor is from here, if you see from B. Okay, the diode remains in non-conducting state. The diode conducting is from A to B, or from this point you can see the diode is conducting. Okay, so this is how we can see the working of a capacitor filter. So if you see the output waveform here, what output waveform we are getting across the capacitor is this red output you can see here. Okay, so because of capacitor, the ripple content is reduced. Okay, now the capacitor discharges until the diode starts conducting again and charges the capacitor in the next positive half cycle of AC supply. Now what is VR peak to peak? This value VR peak to peak, it is the peak to peak ripple voltage on capacitor. What is TC? TC is the, this is represent as TC. Okay, so I'll write here, this is TC. Okay, and this time is TD. What is TC representing? TC is charging time and TD is discharging time. TC is charging time and TD is discharging time. Okay, now the total time will be TC plus TD, that is charging time plus discharging time of the output waveform. Okay, in the figure the dotted line shows the output of the rectifier without capacitor filter, where V out varies between 0 and Vm. When the filter is connected, the output V naught varies from between Vm minus VR peak to peak and Vm. Okay, so here you can see the output is only between Vm and Vm minus VR peak to peak. Okay, so this is how in case of half wave rectifier we get the output. Now let us see in case of full wave rectifier with capacitor filter what happens. In case of full wave rectifier with capacitor filter, we are placing the capacitor across the in parallel with the load. Let us see the operation of full wave rectifier with capacitor filter. Okay, so here during the positive quarter cycle of AC input signal, the diode D1 is forward bias and the capacitor C charges to the forward bias diode D1 to the peak value of input voltage Vm. In the next quarter cycle from pi by 2 to pi, the capacitor starts discharging through RL, because once the capacitor gets charged to Vm, the diode D1 gets reverse bias and stops conducting. So during the period from pi by 2 to pi, the capacitor C supplies the load current. In the next quarter half cycle, that is pi to 3 pi by 2 of the rectified output voltage, if the input voltage exceeds the capacitor voltage making D2 forward bias, this charges the capacitor back to Vm. In the next quarter half cycle, that is from 3 pi by 2 to whatever 2 pi, the diode gets reverse biased and the capacitor supplies the load current. In full wave rectifier, as the time required by the capacitor to charge is very small and it discharges very little due to large time constant, hence ripple in the output gets reduced considerably. Okay, so this is the output waveform which is shown here. Okay, so if you observe this properly, we get the output only from Vm to Vm minus Vr peak to peak. Okay, so the diode D1 starts conducting during the positive half cycle of the AC voltage supply and diode acts as a closed circuit. The capacitor now starts charging to maximum value of Vm and the current flows through the load resistance. The diode D1 becomes reverse biased when the supply voltage falls below Vm. Since the capacitor voltage is larger than the diode voltage, the capacitor C starts discharging through the load resistor. The negative half cycle of the supply voltage will start charging diode D2 even before the capacitor has finished discharging. Since the diode voltage will be more than the capacitor voltage, the capacitor will start charging again until the diode D2 voltage goes below Vm, at which point the capacitor will start discharging through the load resistor and the process continues. Okay, so here in that capacitor video itself, it is clearly mentioned about the two plates, how the potential difference causes the capacitor to charge or discharge. So whenever diode D1 starts conducting, what happens? The capacitor starts charging. So as the diode D1 starts conducting, the output voltage increases. Same way capacitor starts charging, stores the value. So what happens during the negative half cycle? We know that in the input side, first this point will be plus and this point will be minus, because of the diode D1 is forward bias and D2 is reverse bias. But after the quarter cycle, what happens? This becomes less positive. Less positive means it is going towards which side? Going towards the negative side. And here it is becoming positive. That means diode D1 is now getting output voltage is reducing. Okay, once the output voltage starts reducing from Vm, what happens? The capacitor finds the output voltage, the potential difference is now it starts to discharge, because output the load will have lesser voltage. Because of that, it starts discharging and there is a conducting path and it's discharged till what point? Till the diode D2 starts to conduct and it reaches the point where capacitor voltage becomes less, or now Vm becomes more. Okay, so that is how a capacitor filter will block or allow the pass of, it will allow DC component or it block AC component. Okay, and surely it has reduced the ripple in this way. So the ripple factor, it is a big derivation, but you just understand this. Ripple factor for full wave rectifier is 1 by 4 root 3 FCRL, where F is the frequency, C is the capacitance, RL is the load resistor value. And in case of half wave rectifier, it is 1 by 2 root 3 FCRL. Now if you understand this working properly, the next one is still more simpler. Okay, so in case of full wave bridge rectifier with capacitor filter, what happens here? Here we are placing a capacitor across the load, right? So here also I'll just explain the process is just the same. When coming to the exam point of view, you need to write the circuit diagram, you need to write the working and write the output waveform, that's all. Okay, so in this case the working is very clear. What happens during the positive half cycle, diode D1 and D2 is in on state and D3 and D4 is off state. Because of that, because of D1 and D2, there will be a conducting path, so there whatever input is produced at the output. Okay, so it will follow the path. So now the output voltage starts to increase. Because of that, capacitor also starts increasing till what point? That is Vm. So once it reaches Vm, maximum peak of the secondary voltage, what happens? Now the reverse happens. That is, it starts reducing from Vm to, and it goes to the opposite polarity, right? Because during that time, what happens during the negative half cycle? What happens? Diode D3 and D4 conducts. What about D1 and D2? It is reverse bias. So what about capacitor? Now capacitor has charge to peak value Vm, and now the output voltage starts reducing. Because of that, the capacitor starts to discharge. And it will discharge very slowly till what point? Till D3 and D4 starts conducting and it reaches the point of Vc. Okay, so if you understand this circuit in output waveform, so if you see here, for the positive half cycle, you see the capacitor starts charging till what point? Till this A to B charging time, Tc. And once it falls below, okay, the output falls below Vm, then the capacitor starts discharging. So you see here, it starts discharging. But observe here, there is again conduction due to what? Due to D3 and D4. Till what time it will discharge? Till it reaches the capacitor voltage. So this point is again it starts conducting. Okay, so this is Vr peak to peak. Okay, so the output voltage now is only between Vr peak to peak and Vm. So we are getting this kind of output. It is not almost pure. Okay, it is not like it is having lot of ripple. It is having less amount of ripple. So the ripple factor is again calculated using capacitor filter by the formula 1 by 4 root 3 Fc into RL. Okay, hope this session is clear for you. So in this session we have studied how capacitor filter is used to reduce the ripple content. So how the working of capacitor, okay, how will capacitor work when the diode starts conducting and when it goes to off state, how diode starts discharging, and because of the time constant, the discharging time is very slow. Okay, and also we have seen the formula for calculating ripple factor is 1 by 2 root 3 FCRL in case of half wave rectifier, whereas in case of full wave rectifier, both bridge and center tap, we are making use of the formula 1 by 4 root 3 FCRL. I hope in brief of examination point, half wave rectifier with capacitor filter can be asked, full wave rectifier with capacitor filter, both bridge and center tap can be asked, and you know what to do here. We have to place a capacitor in parallel with the load, okay, and draw the output waveform and write the working. Hope all this three is clear for you. If you want to find some more videos related to this concept, you can click on the below links. Thank you.